All right, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, welcome to our senior parent night for the class of 2026. We appreciate you joining us this evening, especially on a exciting night in LA when the Dodgers are in extra innings. So thank you for being here. If you need to leave at any time during this meeting, we will understand, and we will send a recording out in the principal's newsletter this weekend. All right, so if you'd like to take a picture of the QR code or go to the website for the Bitly website, you can have a copy of the presentation and kind of follow along with any links that we have embedded into this presentation. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first of all, I just wanted to welcome you on behalf of the Foothill School Counseling Team. We have Mr. Boyd joining us today. He is the counselor for students with the last names A through HA. I'm Ms.
Hello, hello.
Napora. And what was that, Mr. Boyd?
I just said hello, hello.
Oh, okay, got it. I'm Ms. Napora, and I serve students with the last name HE through RA. And then we have Mrs. Vega, and she serves students with the last names RE through Z. In part of our building and part of the counseling department at Foothill, we also have the media center. Miss Lewis is the media center coordinator. So maybe you have received some emails from her about scholarships or college information or college visitors on our campus. So that comes from Miss Lewis, our media center coordinator. We also have Mrs. Wolf. She's our other counselor who is part of the Wellness Center, and that's in our HPOD. So we all make the Foothill School Counseling Team. We also have a special guest here today, Marisol Lopez Luna. She is here to talk to us a little bit about Ventura College. Since so many of our students do choose that option, we want to make sure that you hear firsthand some important information from Ventura College. All right, so the first part of our presentation is just going to be some basic information, what every senior needs to know and their parents. First off, we did visit senior classrooms. So the counseling team visited senior classrooms this week, and we also have been meeting individually with our seniors to find out how we can support them during this very stressful time in their lives. So I have provided a link to our classroom presentation. So we went over the variety of options a student would have after they graduate from Foothill, some deadlines that they need to consider, and just preparation of things that they need to do this year, depending on what their choice is for after Foothill. So we also talked a lot about the FAFSA, which is the financial aid scholarship information, and Mr. Boyd's going to get into that a little bit later. We also have provided students with an application flow chart. So if they are confused with I'm applying to a UC or a Cal State or a Common App school, we have a flow chart that helps guide students through the different parts of the application process. So are they certain about where they're applying to? Yes or no? Is it a UC school? Is it a Cal State school? Is it a Common App school? So if they follow this flow chart, there are embedded links to help guide them in the right direction when filling out applications and making crucial decisions their senior year. We also have a senior timeline, which breaks down month by month some things that seniors should be thinking about. If they're going to Ventura College next year, their senior year is very simplified. But if they're applying to private schools, UCs, Cal States, then there are some very important deadlines this time of year that we want students to be aware of, and then throughout the year that we don't want them to miss. So that is there are a lot of links embedded into this timeline as well. And then we do have application workshops for students. So beginning next week, students will be able to participate in a Common App workshop, and that will be October 16th. And then that will be followed by UC and Cal State, and then eventually Ventura College workshops that the students can participate in and get help from college admissions representatives on those applications. So that Google form to sign up for those workshops was sent to students again today in their VSD email so that they can sign up for those workshops. If they are signing up or if they do plan to attend Ventura College in the future, we stress that they'd want to sign up for part 1 and part 2 of those workshops. You might want to mark your calendar right now if you haven't already for June 4th. At Ventura College, we're going to be celebrating the class of 2026 at 2:30, and that is their graduation time. We've had a lot of parents asking about, well, when is senior finals? And senior finals for semester 2 is May 28th and 29th. And then probably the most important resource that you would have for your senior this year is the senior handbook. And that is a guide to everything that you would need to know for your senior. So it includes a bunch of important senior deadlines and dates, reminders about caps and gowns, how to, if they wanted to borrow things for their cap and gown or rent a cap and gown, how to do that, information about community service, diplomas, dress code, everything that you would want to know about senior year and what seniors need to know. All right, so these are some important dates that we wanted to share with you. On November 5th, we're going to have the Regional College Fair, and that's going to be at Buena High School. That will be from 5 to 7. So if your senior is still kind of on the fence as far as what schools they are thinking about for next year, that would be a great opportunity to stop by Buena High School and talk to some reps and get some more information about, visiting a campus or programs that they offer. Or extracurricular things that are going on at their college campus, so that students can make the informed decision that they need to make this time of year. Also, November 7th and 18th, we're going to have Ventura College workshops. That's VC will come to our campus to help students through some crucial steps that they need to take for the VC Promise. We'll have Marisol talk about that in just a minute. Our application workshops. And then right now, through really March 2nd, is the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or the California Dream Act. That is open for the 26-27 school year. And we do have, that is a graduation requirement, and that is something that we want all of our families to complete in order to find out how much financial aid assistance they can get, either through grants or scholarships or loans for funding their education after high school. So Ventura College is having what they call Cash for College this Saturday from 9 to 12 at Ventura College in the LRC. That's the big gray library in the middle of campus. And they will have financial aid experts there to help families complete their FAFSA or California Dream Act application. And you just have to attend and get your FAFSA or California Dream Act application done, and then you can leave. So you're not there for the entire time. So it should take about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on, how much information you bring to the workshop, if you know your social security number, that kind of stuff. Also, December 1st is the UC and Cal State application deadline. There probably will be some exceptions to the Cal State application deadline for those less impacted campuses and majors, but in general, December 1st is the deadline for both types of campuses. And then January 16th, that is the Ventura County Community Foundation Scholarship Application deadline. That application opens at the end of this month. It's a very important application that we encourage all of our seniors to fill out and complete, especially if they're planning on attending a four-year university next year. And those scholarships that are available through that application are just available to Ventura County residents. So it's a lot less competitive than an application that a student would be applying for if it's like a national scholarship. So this is just a local scholarship. A lot of resources available to help students out if they complete the application and are chosen for a particular scholarship. All right, moving on, I just wanted to share some information from the class of 2025, just so you know like why we're covering certain things this evening. We do have, last year, we did have 70% of our students complete the necessary, it was about 71%, but the necessary requirements to move on to a four-year university. They completed what we call the A through G or UC CSU requirements. But most of them chose, or many of them chose to attend a two-year college. And so of those, 52% of the students who attend a two-year college, 95% of them attended Ventura College or are attending Ventura College right now. So that's why we have donated a lot of tonight to talking about Ventura College. So that brings us to our next speaker, Marisol Luna Lopez. Marisol, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. My name is Marisol Luna Lopez. I'm one of the student outreach specialists for Ventura College. I'm going to do a brief presentation. If you have any questions, are we doing questions now or at the end? The end? Okay.
We can
Okay.
do them at the end.
Okay, perfect. Then let's proceed.
Sorry.
Thank you. So I wanted to share, this is our outreach team. These are the folks that are going to be coming in and assisting your students. We have workshops already scheduled for November. We have Susana Motu and we have Vanessa Stotler. She is our Director of Marketing and Outreach. And Pedro Castellon, he is our Student Success and Support Specialist. So we're the folks that are going to be going to Foothill High School to support your students during this time of transition. So I do want to share that we are a district with 3 community colleges within. So it's Ventura College, Moorpark College, and Oxnard College. So a lot of our students are thinking about, well, am I going to apply to VC or do I want to go to Moorpark or Oxnard College? You only need to do one community college application, and that will include all 3 of them. So our students are able to take college classes at our sister colleges. We do want to share that there is a low cost to attend. It's $46 per unit. Normally, each class is about 3 units. In order for you to be considered full-time is 12 units. So our students are taking roughly about 4 classes per semester. So we just wanted to kind of give you a little breakdown. I will be talking later about our Ventura College Promise, okay? But I just wanted to share since a lot of students and parents ask, well, how much is it per unit? It's $46. I want to talk about the career and educational pathways. A lot of our students oftentimes don't really know what they want to study, what they want to do. With community college, it provides you a great opportunity because a lot of our students are able to look into perhaps and explore the career pathway where they're able to take a minimum of 16 units about per semester and receive a certification of achievement and shortly after join the workforce. So some of our students do decide to do that. Then a lot of our students decide to receive an associate's degree, so pursue that pathway where they're able to receive a college degree within their 2 years, which is an associate's in science or an associate's of art. Normally, it's a minimum about 60 units in order for them to receive their certification and then enter the workforce. And then a lot of our students decide to transfer. So they come to Ventura College first 2 years and then later decide to transfer, whether that is a CSU, a UC, a private, or an out-of-state institution. We do have a tag program that we have affiliated with some of our universities, whether when a student is interested, they basically have a guarantee at the institution after they complete their requirements of their 60 transferable units. So that is an option. So essentially, these are the opportunities that your students will start looking and exploring further. We do offer some career education programs. Agriculture tends to be very growing industry. So we have agriculture business, food safety, pest control. We have the vet tech program that's actually housed in our East Campus in Santa Paula. It's normally about a cohort. You're looking at about 24 students per cohort. So they're following the coursework together. We also have diesel mechanics, automotive technology. Starting this fall, actually, we just started our cohort of a bachelor's degree. So if your student is interested in automotive, they can come in to Ventura College, do first 2 years, receive their associate's degree, then apply into our automotive bachelor's program, and then complete another 2 years. So they'll be able to graduate with their bachelor's degree in automotive. We have accounting, we have social media marketing, we have our child development at Ventura College where our students receive hands-on experience working with children, especially if they're looking into pursuing maybe a teaching degree later. We also have criminal justice, police science, if our students are looking into becoming police officers. We do have police science where they become like cadets and then they can complete later their training. Um, Nursing is very popular among a lot of our students, but it is also very competitive and impacted. So a lot of our students are looking maybe into receiving their CNA, so the certified nursing assistant, maybe getting extra vocational assistance, just to kind of get their foot wet, right? Just making sure if that's something that they really want to pursue. Paramedic studies is also very popular, EMT. We do have architecture, drafting, and construction, manufacturing and welding, as well as water science. So this is just a little bit about our career education. So if your students are interested in exploring further, they can come in and attend Ventura College. Keep in mind that every community college, you want to do the research, right? A lot of our students are looking into them like, hey, Marisol, I'm very interested in culinary or dental hygiene. That's our sister school. So that would be Oxnard College that has that program. They also have a new bachelor's degree in dental hygiene. Moorpark College, for example, they have radiology, they have biotechnology, cybersecurity. So if your student is interested in any of those fields, make sure that they apply accordingly. This is very important because I think a lot of our students are very used to in high school provided with their coursework, right? It's like, oh, here's your schedule. These are the classes that you need to take. Going into community college is very different, meaning we do have a counseling services. Some of them focus on solely academic. they're going to be in transition, right? They're graduating high school. They're going to be pursuing higher education. Their first semester, we're going to be having course planning for new students. So that way they'll be able to see what courses to be taking. We do have counselors that focus solely on transferring, right? We have the CSU application, the UC application. We have the Common App. So if that is something that they want to do later as they are pursuing higher ed and transfer, you want to make sure that they get connected with our counseling team there. We have drop-in, which is normally about 15 minutes, something quick if they want to verify something with the coursework that they're taking. A lot of our students are coming in without really knowing, right, what they want to do, what they want to study, what they want to pursue. We do have career exploration when they come in and speak to our counseling team. And then we also have free 6 sessions, 45 minutes long for personal. So maybe they're going through, something that they maybe don't want to share exactly with their parents or their friends, maybe some grieving, maybe they've lost someone. So we do have that service available for our students free of cost. We have different types of counseling available. But one of the things that you want to make sure that you start talking to your student and the student is knowledgeable of is that there's going to be a lot of independence, right? In college, they're selecting their courses. So yes, they are going to be meeting with the counselors and they're going to be telling them, well, you're able to take these classes or choose out of this section what type of class, what type of math class, what type of English class you're going to be taking, what's going to work with your schedule. A lot of our students are working in the mornings and taking classes in the evenings or vice versa, right? So it's going to be very important that the student is going to know that our counseling team is not going to be handing the student their coursework, right? Their schedule, essentially. The student is going to be responsible for registering for classes and responsible for adding, dropping, right, accordingly. So I wanted to make sure I touched base on that because a lot of our students coming in, especially their first semester, that's something that they struggle with because that's not something that they're used to, or even thinking, well, I'm in school, in high school, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 3, and then in college, they're selecting their time frame. Maybe they're not morning, they don't like to wake up early in the morning. Maybe they want to start their class at 10 or maybe at noon, or maybe they want to be finished by 12 o'clock. So they're able to kind of arrange accordingly to what works best for them. I do want to highlight some of our student services. One of the things that I do emphasize with our students, especially as they're coming in, you want to make sure you start getting connected with our resources. We do have our basic needs office that provides free groceries once a week. So if maybe they didn't bring their lunch money and they're a little hungry, or they're taking a test but they need to grab a snack, we do have our basic needs office, and that is free. All they're going to need is their 900 number, which is their student ID. So that's going to be something that, if that is something that they're interested in, make sure that they take full advantage of. We also have our career center. A lot of our students start looking for jobs for employment, but many of our students do not know, how do you build your resume? What does that look like? What about a cover letter? So this is where the career center is able to assist them, or maybe looking for internships or potential jobs. Want to make sure that your student visits us at the career center. We do have a transfer center. So if they're looking into transferring, they're like, gosh, I really want to go to community college, but I'm looking into transferring to UCLA. How am I going to get there? Make sure that they visit us there. We also have our Educational Assistance Center. So maybe your student has a IEP plan or a 504 plan, has a disability. You want to make sure that they get connected. Maybe, there is some accommodations with our faculty faculty. Maybe the test is only going to allow for 1 hour, but your student really needs 2 hours, right? Or note taking, or anything of that sort. You want to make sure that you get connected with our EAC center. We have our first year experience. That is very important for our students to be engaged in, especially as they're navigating and they need additional assistance, kind of going through their first year in community college, right? Over the summer, they do host Arrival Survival. It's basically an introduction. They get to meet with our counselors from the first year experience where they'll be able to discuss major exploration. They have different workshops throughout the semester, and also for those students that are still undecided. MESA, if your student is interested in pursuing STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, definitely check out MESA. It stands for Math, Engineering, Science Achievement. Okay, so you want to make sure that they provide a lot of our faculty, professors come into that space and provide additional tutoring or really any opportunity for them to do their office hours and really check in with their students. We also have the Next Up program. So if your student is formally or foster youth, we do have this new program that they have at Ventura College where they'll be able to provide additional assistance to our students. If you have participated and been in the military, served, we do have our Veterans Resource Center available for your student. We do have our Dreamers Resource Center if you or your student is undocumented and need to provide additional legal services. We do provide that assistance. And then our tutoring center, that's something that we want to make sure that our students take full advantage of, because we want to make sure that the student is successful as they transition from high school onto college. Student activities. It's very important for your student to get and continue to be involved. Maybe in high school they weren't really involved in sports or clubs, different organizations, but that's really going to be shaping their journey, right? And to want to make sure that they are well-rounded students, especially if the student is looking into transferring. They're still going to ensure that they need to be included of student organizations that they're interested in. Maybe they do want to join and be part of a team. For sports, we have over 30 different clubs and organizations. If your student is not finding something that they're interested in, that is a great opportunity for them to create and build their own club and org. We have different also sports. If they're interested in water polo, tennis, track and field, basketball, we have football. Want to make sure that the student starts getting early. And part of the admission application, it does ask if they are interested in pursuing and participating in any clubs, organizations, and athletics. And they'll be receiving emails after to make sure that they connect, for example, with our athletic director. One of the things that I do want to mention is the steps to enroll. What's the process? What does that look like? What are they going to be doing as they are trying to matriculate to Ventura College? The application is free and it's online. We are going to be coming in to assist your student with their admission application. That is the first step, essentially, right? The first workshop. We are going to be coming in the following week or so, and we're going to be helping them with the second part, and that is setting up the portal and completing their online orientation. So we'll walk them through that. And then they're going to be needing to finish their MAP, which is My Academic Planner, and that's going to be a requirement in order for them to meet with an academic advisor. So these are definitely the steps that they need to complete in order for them to fully enroll, and then register and pay if there's any balance that the student needs to be paying. Financial aid, they did share we are going to be hosting a Cash for College this Saturday, October 11th from 9 to 12 in the LRC in the library. And this is very important. All seniors should be completing their financial aid. We have the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application. Make sure you know which application to submit. If you're a US citizen or California resident, FAFSA. If you identify as undocumented student, AB 540, California Dream Act application. You want to make sure that you only submit one application and not both. The application has been open already and it was open October 1st. Priority deadline is March 2nd. One of the things that I always tell students, don't focus on getting it done in March. Make sure you try to get it done in October. Part of that application, especially if your student is going to be and is A through G and it will be applying to the CSU, the UCs, the privates, the out of state, you want to make sure that the student already comes in with that list in hand as well. Because part of financial aid is that they're going to be asking where are the institutions that the student is going to be applying to. They are allowed to add up to 20 institutions. So you want to make sure that you add the students that the institutions that the student is planning on submitting an application for. One of the things that I do say and students is like, well, I didn't add Ventura College, but that's where I'm going to end up doing. You're able to make edits, but you want to make sure that even if you're thinking of enrolling in a 4-year, you always want to add a community college institution in there just to ensure that the money will follow you there. So hope to see many of you for our Cash for College. Again, it's going to be this Saturday, October 11th from 9 to 12. You want to make sure you get here in early. We will be having our financial aid specialist assist with the process. Make sure you come prepared. If you have social security numbers, make sure you bring them. If not, do not worry. We will still assist you. Also, income taxes of 2024. Please do not bring 2022, 2023. We really want to make sure that we're working with income taxes 2024. We do have our Ventura College Promise Grant, and a lot of our students and families say, well, what does this cover? What does that mean, right? So that will cover your summer, your fall, and your spring tuition. Remember, I said $46 per unit, right? The student is responsible to pay out of pocket, right, for the student health fee, which is about $26 per semester. The student center fee, about $1 per unit. So normally it won't be more than $10 per year. We do have the student rep fee, which is about $2 per semester, right? Keep in mind that these fees tend to change, but at least the enrollment fee, the tuition, that's what it will cover. In order for the student to be eligible for the Ventura College Promise Grant, right, receive the first 2 years for free, the student must, one, submit financial aid, which is the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. 2, apply for our college. So apply and submit your admission application to Ventura College. Be a California resident or AB 540. And this is determined by our admission and records, okay? And one of the things that is very important for me to highlight is that you must be full-time. So again, being full-time is 12 units or more. So what ends up happening often with our students is that, college tends to be a little challenging, right? They're transitioning, they're figuring it out, and maybe a class becomes a little too challenging. So what does the student do? They drop the class. And what does that end up happening is that they are no longer at 12 units. They end up being at 9 units, but they never added another class. So when they come in and still tell me, hey, Marisol, why am I being charged? I was taking full classes and now, I need to pay. Why is that? And then you start looking and then you're like, well, you never added another class. So now you no longer maintain that full-time status. Now you became part-time. So I always want to make sure that I mention this to students and families, because if a class becomes challenging, make sure that your student is ready to add another class. So they're never dropping from that 12 unit requirement, right? That's going to be very important. And this is the information. If you want to go ahead and take a picture, save this, make sure you talk to your student, remind them. We will be at Foothill on November 7th. It's a Friday. We'll be there in the morning assisting your student with their admission application. One of the things that is very important to come in prepared, if they do have a social security number, make sure your student either remembers it by memory, has it written down in a safe space somewhere. You want to make sure you don't lose that information, right? But they come prepared, because oftentimes what ends up happening is that we come into these workshops, some students come prepared and some students don't. And we don't want the student to submit the application if their social security number is not inputted, because then they're going to have to come back to campus, show identification, show their proof of, having a social security number, and it becomes more of an issue, right? And we're really trying to ensure that we are providing resources and not creating more barriers or challenges for your student. So make sure that your student come prepared with their social security number for that day. So again, Friday, November 7th. We are going to be coming in again for the second session, and this is going to be the next steps. So setting up the portal and the online orientation, and that's going to be on Tuesday, November 18th. I do want to share some information with you, because a lot of our students and even families like, well, when does my student register and when is this classes begin and such, right? So the new student priority registration will be opening around April 28th. Okay, and that is priority registration. That means if they're part of EOPS, if they're part of the Next Up program, if they're part of the first year experience, and the open registration opens for all around April 30th. So though that is something for you to kind of keep in mind, because students normally ask, well, when am I going to register for classes? So normally April is the time. One of the things that I do want to share with you is that we do have Pirate Days, and that is a field trip that your student will be eligible to participate, as long as the student has completed their admission application and completed their portal and online orientation. And the reason why this is so important and critical is because the students will have the opportunity to meet with an academic counselor. Um, and in order for them to complete their abbreviated educational plan, they need to have access to the portal, right? So you want to make sure that the application is already in, or else the counselor is not really going to be able to proceed and move on. So that's going to be very important that your student, if they are planning on attending Ventura College in the fall, you want to make sure that you look into Pirate Days. At this moment, I do want to share that there has been transition. So we are looking into dates, but we do not have dates as of yet. We're still working with our executive board to ensure that we find dates. And once we know that, we will definitely be communicating with your counselors at Foothill Tech. I do want to say that limited spots. So you want to make sure that your student does not miss the opportunity on Friday, November 7th and Tuesday, November 18th. Well, again, first year experience, you can apply through the Google form, and they'll have a summer programming, which is arrival survival. Please, if you have any additional questions, please make sure that you connect with us. This is our phone number to our welcome center, our email for outreach. follow us on Instagram. And with that, I conclude my presentation. If you have any questions, I will be here to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juana Vega, one of the counselors, and I will be taking over the next few slides. Thank you, Marisol, by the way. Thank you so much for all that great information. So we like stats, so we're going to share a few more stats with you guys tonight. For the class of 2025, we had about 39% of our students are stating that they are going to a four-year in the fall. Out of that, we had 41% that plan to attend a CSU, 31 plan to attend a UC, 18 plan to attend out-of-state school, and 10% plan to attend a private school within California. So we are going to go over some details from those institutions just to kind of review with all of you as far as applying. Okay, one very important thing that we want to share with all parents, and we shared this with your students, is that we do know that we have a lot of kiddos that are going over to our community colleges taking dual enrollment, but we need to make it very clear that they are not going in as transfers. They are going in as freshman applicants. So that's very, very important. We do have some kids this upcoming year, class of 2026, that will be completing their associate's degree. That does not matter in the sense of where they're starting. They're starting still as freshmen. They cannot apply as transfers. So something that we do want to highlight is to please make sure that they connect either with a counselor or another adult to look over that application before they hit that submit button. So we're going to start with the CSUs. There's 22 CSUs, Cal State Universities. Those are your San Diego State, San Jose, Northridge, Channel Islands. That's a local one here. And Cal Poly Pomona, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So those are just to name a few. So the CSU application, the application opened October 1st. Most of the applications are due on December 1st. Some exceptions will be made. Some universities where, again, it's not impacted, they will extend that deadline. But as of now, let's plan on having anybody applying to a CSU, make sure it's done before December 1st. Recommendation, don't wait please till November even 30th. I wouldn't wait till November 30th. The system can crash and we don't want panic kids. So if they can get it in around Thanksgiving break, that would be highly recommended. It's $70 per application. There is a fee waiver possibility, but that's embedded in the application. So if your student they will have to answer a few questions, and if they qualify, it will let them know right then and there that they qualify and they can apply to up to 4 free CSU apps. But again, other than that, it's $70 per application. No test scores or recommendations are required. But the students do have the option of submitting if they would like to submit them. However, they are not being looked at for admission purposes. So again, it's not no test scores required or letters of recommendation for the CSU. Something that we went over in the presentations this past week with your student also was we went over California colleges. As far as importing, it's a really neat feature that California colleges has, that the student will log into their account and it would be their login information from their Ventura, their VSD account. They log in, they go under colleges and say, I want to import my information. They log into their application, hit one little button that says import, and it transfers everything over. The only thing that we are asking again is to make sure that they're checking with their transcript for accuracy, because we have found a few glitches. So we want to make sure, again, very important, we cannot emphasize, make sure somebody is looking at that application before they hit the submit button, because they cannot go back and edit. Okay, so just if you can help us with that and supporting your student, again, just making sure that somebody's looking at it, because we want to make sure it's accurate. We don't like when students get denied because they forgot to put their senior year classes, because now they're not meeting A through G. Okay, we are attaching a link for the application stats. So once we send this presentation over tomorrow, I would encourage you guys to look at it. It has some really neat information on there. And then the big one is Cal Poly SLO. We have some admission videos. There's a lot of questions about SLO. And so SLO does a really good job of answering a lot of the questions that parents and students have. So please, if you have some time, I would really encourage you guys to look at those videos. And then, oh, sorry, and we also included a video of how to import those courses, but your students should be aware of how to do that. And now we have the University of California that we're looking at our Berkeley, UCLA, UCSB, UC Santa Cruz, Riverside, Irvine, San Diego. So we're going to go over some of those details. Again, due date, same due date, December 1st. We want to make sure. That's why, please, there's going to be a lot of students, a lot of students wanting to submit it that day. So the earlier the student does it, it's a little bit better, but I wouldn't say it has to be done within the course of first 2 weeks of October either, because we want to make sure somebody's looking at their application. This one is $80 per application. And the same fee waiver is embedded in there, but it will let them know right then and there if they do qualify. If they qualify for the fee waiver, they will also get 4 UC applications free. But if not, again, it's $80 per application. No test scores or letters of recommendation are required. But again, a student is if they would like to submit them, they have the option of doing that, but the universities are not looking at that for admission. The only one that has come back as far as letters of recommendation has been Berkeley, but they will email the counselor directly, asking for a letter of rec if they're still kind of deciding or they're having some questions. So Berkeley, as far as I know, has been the only one, at least for myself, that has asked me for a letter of rec on behalf of my student. So just to keep that in mind. Freshman admin data found here. That's what's really cool to look at. We get to see how many of our kiddos applied to UCLA, how many applied to Irvine, Santa Barbara, how many got in. It does tell us that as well. So you're welcome to look at that. I think it's some really good information. Personal insight questions. There is 4, they have to answer 4 of the 8. I'm hoping that students, this application opened on August 1st, so I'm hoping that students were able to start working on them during the summer, review them. We asked to, have several people read those, help them with the PFQs as far as just reading it over, making sure, they're answering the prompt. And there's some videos attached here too. UCSB does a really good job as far as what to expect, how they read the application, what they're looking for. And Ms. Napora is going through those are the tutorials that are available. It goes in detail as far as getting started, the campus, the majors, all of that. So, and we are having, again, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to have a representative from UCSB over at Foothill kind of reviewing that with students. They go over the application step by step as well. Okay. And then we have private out-of-state universities. Most of our students that are doing private or out-of-state are using the Common App. Okay, the Common App is fun. In the sense that there's a lot there. So the sooner the students start on it, the better off they will be. They have deadlines. There's testing that has to be submitted. Some of the IVs, they still require the SAT or the ACT. So, and not only the IVs, there's definitely other Common App schools that are still requiring it. So you have to make sure that your student checks that to see what is it that each school that they're applying to, what the requirements are going to be. We attach the requirements for Common App schools. It is listed there. It's a lot, but you can just look at the university your student is thinking of applying and just double check to make sure so we don't have any surprises. Many of those will require a letter of recommendation. So we ask the students to please plan ahead. It's usually two teacher letters of rec, and then they will ask for a counselor letter of rec as well. Historically, our students love to do them during fall break, which is great. They have time to work on it. But we emphasize when they're on fall break, we're on fall break, teachers are on fall break. Most of us are not checking our email. So if they have a due date of November 1 and they're asking us for a letter of rec on October 29th, most likely it's going to get missed. So we emphasize gives teachers, counselors at least 2 weeks notice that you're going to need a letter of rec so we can plan accordingly and we can make sure we have them before we leave for fall break as well. We did attach, there's a video about early action versus early decision versus regular. I know we emphasized this with kiddos a lot this past week. Early action, you're looking at a November 1 date. And I know a lot of students like to do the early action just because they get to know sooner whether it helps them make their decision, whether they got in or not, and then move from that. Another good thing about early action is they may qualify for some merit scholarships. So that's another reason to do it. Early decision, we did tell them and emphasize, please be very careful. This is binding. So if you're telling us you want to go to USC and you're going to USC because that's the school you want to go to, and you get into USC and you did an early decision, you're going to USC. And all the colleges talk to each other. So you can say, oh, I'm going to do early decision here, but then if I get into, I don't know, NYU or something, NYU gave me a better financial aid package. I'm going there instead. That's a big no-no. So we have to make sure that your student understands that. And then we have regular decision. Most of those are in December 15th or so. That's kind of like the deadline. So we will submit transcripts and everything on behalf of your students, and we'll take care of that part. But there is a letter of rec as well from counselors that's required. There's some school facts there as far as we needed to complete. I don't know, Jane, can you share that one? Because I think that one's important too. The FTHS school facts. When students are filling out the Common App, here we have like the code, the date of entry, when they're graduating, how we report like the class size, for example, is 235. We report ranking exact. So these are just some FAQs that the students can go through, and hopefully it helps them fill out their Common App. Thank you, Jane. And then some more, we did embed some Common App tutorials on YouTube because, again, it's an intense application. And we are also having a rep coming to us, I believe, from Westmont to help with the Common App. But of course, your students are always welcome to reach out to their counselors individually, and we'll be more than happy to help them. Thank you, Jane.
All right, guys, it's my turn now. How about those Dodgers? They won the bottom of the 12th. Yay! So I'm going to talk about financial aid and just more information about that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the financial aid, the FAFSA or California Dream Act, it is required for high school graduation. You need to do one of the applications. Most of our students will do the FAFSA because they're U.S. citizens with a Social Security number that qualifies you for state and federal aid. Other students will use the California Dream Act because they're undocumented, no Social Security number, or other reasons, and they only qualify for state aid. So that is a big distinction. And there's some videos there on what to do and how to do it. I will say as a parent, when I filled this out for my son, my oldest, and went out to college, I went to the Cash for College event at Ventura College. It was extremely helpful. It took about 45 minutes, but I was very confident I was able to submit and do that correctly. So yay, Ventura College. Next slide, please. This is the Cash for College event. This is directly from their work website. It has the dates of the Cash for College, which you should bring for Cash for College. And remember, Marcel has open from 9 to noon, but you show up when you're done when you're done. 30 to 45, maybe 60 minutes, but it'll be taken care of and you know it'll be done correctly. Again, I found that as a parent most helpful. Next slide, please. Additional financial aid form. Okay, parents, this one's bad. You're not going to like this. If your student is applying to a school like USC, for example, USC has a lot of financial aid, but you jump through all the hoops to get that financial aid. That includes filling out the CSS profile. This is a financial aid application you pay for. And the FAFSA goes off W-2, a paycheck, if you will. The CSS profile is going after assets, retirement accounts, that type of thing. So again, there are schools that require the CSS profile. We have some things embedded here on which schools require it. And again, for you to get that financial aid, you will fill it out. Next slide, please. Scholarships. The majority of the scholarships students get will come from the college and university through the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. There are scholarship lists available. We embedded the list right here. And the VCCF scholarship, with the support I talked about earlier, is a great place to find local scholarships, people your kids take with them to college, and it truly does help. And I think I have one more, Jane, or that might be it for me. Let's see. Community service. I have one more. Community service is not a requirement to graduate from Federal Technology High School. Once it was, the pandemic shutdown killed that. No more of a requirement. Instead, we encourage community service. We find it very valuable, and we'll give awards at Senior Award Night for those students who did their community service. And you can see the silver, gold, platinum, and ruby awards are given for community service hours. So again, encouraged, but certainly not required. This is you, Jane. Thank you.
All right, so wrapping up today's presentation, there were just some extra links here that we wanted to call your attention to. First one would just be the College and Career website. So take a look at that. That does have information about scholarships, community service, where people are looking for volunteers, everything that you could, and also who's visiting our campus for college reps. So all that information is found there. There's also some other things that parents might want to look at. You can look at a college scorecard, type in the name of a school, and it will tell you how many, what the graduation rate is for that school, average annual cost, median earnings once 10 years after graduation for that university. So a great place to go to do some research when making the decision about post-high school plans. We also have a link here for campus safety. So I know that is a big on parents' minds. So if you wanted to look at the data for one school, it will give you some crime statistics for a school. You can also compare different schools. So when it comes to, February, March, April, and your student needs to make a decision, you guys can bring up that information and compare the different stats and data for crime for that campus and see if one campus is safer than the other. So might play an important role in your decision. We also have admissions calculators. I like to use CollegeVine. So if you're interested in that, it can calculate a student's chances, and then it can break it down to, is it a reach school, a target school, or a safety school based on what a student is putting into the calculator. So things like their grades, how many AP classes they've taken, what kind of extracurricular activities they do, lots of other factors too. We also wanted to point out California colleges for students to explore different personality tests or different majors, importing their course history into their college applications, trying to narrow down colleges based on different factors that they're using or looking for. So students would sign in using their Google account. And then if you're not registered as a parent yet, you can register your account here. You just need to have your student's state ID number, and that's located on their transcript that they received in the classroom today. I mean, this week, sorry, earlier this week. We also have different websites, Career Explorer, California Career Zone, California One Stop, and choosing a major for students that are still on the fence as far as what sort of major or career they are considering. So lots of great resources there. I like Career One Stop. It provides different, you can explore different careers based on what are fast-growing occupations. You could look at different salaries, what's hot, self-employment, different career clusters. And then you can also find some training if you're a student wanting to go into an apprenticeship. And then I like to kind of backwards map where a student can find like their dream job and look and see what qualifications that particular place is asking for their candidates, and then try to backwards map like their experience or major that they would need to be able to eventually someday obtain that type of a position. And then choosing a major at UC is helpful as well. So you can enter a name of like, let's say biology, and the applicant level would be freshman, and the category, you can just say a fall term, and then you can just search a campus. So let's say Davis, and then you can search, and then it will give you all the different types of biology related majors. So, the UCs do encourage that students not apply for those well-known majors. So not like biological sciences or just psychology, but try to find the majors that are related, that might have a different name, but can still get you to that same end goal of, getting into medical school or getting a job in a particular field. All right, so I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to remind everybody of those important dates that we had mentioned earlier, and also the application workshops. We would encourage all of our students to sign up for those if they're applying to a Common App school, UC, or Cal State. And then most importantly, to mark the calendar for November 7th and 18th for the 2 VC workshops. They have to attend both part 1 and part 2. We would encourage you to attend the Cash for College event this Saturday at BC, anytime between 9 and 12. Don't forget, December 1st is the UC CSU application deadline, but as Ms. Vega said, please have your students submit early. And then January 16th, we'll remind students to submit their VCCF scholarship application. So that opens at the end of this month. So we provided a link directly to that application, but it's not open yet. All right, so we will be sending this slideshow as well as the recorded presentation out. So if you missed anything, or if you have any questions or want to research some of these links that we provided, then we will be happy to, receive your email. If you'd like to email us, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have once you review this presentation again. Okay, so thank you for joining us this evening. Uh, Go Dodgers, yay. And if you have a quick question and you'd like to stay on, you can. But otherwise, please feel free to email your school counselor and we'd be happy to get back to you. And then your student can also drop by our office or schedule a time to meet with us if they have some questions or need some assistance with their applications or any post-high school planning. All right. Thank you so much and have a good night.